Hey YouTube, what's up? Um, Sort of getting a late start here on this chainsaw rebuild. I got it all tore apart before I realized I should probably be recording at least some of this just for your guys' sake. I'm gonna try and piece it back together, and I'm sorry this isn't the best informative content I could produce. It's just, I'm one dude in a tool shop. Here we are. So, this is the Stihl 044. Um, Basically, all I've done is just gut it. Take that off, or take the bar cover off. Recoil unit. the the front cover for the carburetor that's connected to the air filter, which I'm going to blow out. Dirty rags, integral part of the chainsaw. Got the cover for the air filter and the cover for the top back there. That is the taken apart muffler. That is the cylinder that just came off. And remember how I was telling you guys that this bad boy was really beat up? It basically completely blew up. This is the cylinder that came out of it. Serious fouling. Completely cracked the top of this. This other, if that'll focus, that's the other piece of it. Really not a lot of scoring on the on the intake side. This side has some scoring, but I'm pretty sure it has a lot more to do with the fact that there was a chunk of metal floating around than running lean or anything like that. Really not entirely sure what caused it to blow up like this on a fresh rebuild, but yeah. So this is the jug that came off of that jug cylinder, same difference. I have very poor lighting in this shop because my only light comes in through that doorway and from LED fluorescence, but I was looking in there and trying to feel around with my thumbnail, and honestly, I don't think there's a thing wrong with this jug. It's so fresh. There's pretty much no scoring on the inside. There's a little bit of fouling on top, but that's just carbon. Depending on if this decomp fits or not, I might pull this newer decomp off this and throw it onto this Stihl OEM original diameter cylinder. So one thing you'll notice is that this cylinder is overbored. That's one of the reasons that I think this saw failed, was that this was just a cheaper Magnum cylinder kit. I'm trying to see, I don't see any brand markings. I think it was Highway, but don't quote me on that. Basically, the previous owner of this saw had taken off the original 50mm cylinder and piston and tried to give the saw a little more power by throwing in this 52mm overboard kit for it. Clearly to disastrous results. So I ended up going with all OEM parts. Yes, this is an old cylinder. It's been used, but there's not a speck wrong with it on the inside. I have absolutely no reason to believe that this will cause me any problems, especially because I'll be including a brand new piston and rings and all that good stuff. One thing cool that I did find out, so preface, in order to fit that overboard kit, one of the things that they had to do was actually replace the entire crankshaft assembly with one that fits a 12mm wrist pin. On these old Stihl 044s, there was a an original model, one of the ways you can tell is by checking the serial number, obviously. But quick sight check. This red choke lever is pretty much a dead giveaway. They changed the color. Sorry, knocked a piece of steel around. They changed that lever later on whenever they moved over to the 12mm wrist pin profile that they use now for all the 440s, the 441s. I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me on this, most of the crankshaft assemblies for the larger Stihl chainsaws are all 12mm wrist pins. So this has a brand new crank assembly. I checked all the bearings, they're all totally fine. But in this box of random parts that I got whenever I got the saw, I found the original crank assembly, the original 10mm one, with an old wrist pin. The needle bearings are fine, and I also had originally, when I ordered that the new old jug, was I got a second jug, and I had mistakenly ordered one for a 10mm, a piston for a 10mm wrist pin. So I actually have an entire separate powertrain assembly just lying around. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna sell those parts off, kind of recoup everything that I put into this, or frankly just keep it around. So now you're probably wondering why I have these plugged up with paper towels. If you haven't noticed, the saw is absolutely filthy, and if I was doing things smart, I would have cleaned it all out before I even took the cylinder off, but I didn't do that. So I'm just going to plug up the intake and the crankshaft assembly. I'm going to go blow it out really quick. Shouldn't take too long, and I'll be getting the rest of this all together. The main thing is that I need to get the surface here spotless so that the gasket will adhere. That's about all I got, and I'll get back. So I think I might have a little bit of a trick here for you guys. One thing I noticed is that trying to put that piston on the cylinder kind of sucks. So it's got those little rings in there, and you got to make sure those are completely aligned and compressed just right. And they make a proper tool for the job. I just don't have one, and so I'm going to try here is partially inserting the piston into the cylinder, making sure that everything is still lined up, and then I will be mounting the wrist pin onto the piston with the cylinder still on it. What I'll probably end up doing is, sorry guys, keep losing focus because I'm trying to see what I'm doing here. I'll try and get that in there, and I'll let you know how it goes. Everything should work out just fine as soon as I get there. I've still got to put a gasket sealer, and a gasket, which I have here. I'm going to go around there and make sure that everything is completely squared up. I cleaned out the inside of that, right where the gasket goes, with compressed air, and then I washed it all off with gasoline, and it's evaporated. The rest of the saw is kind of dirty. I just didn't want to kick up too much dust since I'd already goofed, and I just didn't want to risk getting anything there in the crankcase. So, get back to you as soon as I'm done. Well, just got her back in. I will say, sorry I couldn't video that. I'm kind of all on my own out here, but I think that putting the cylinder over the piston and then putting in your circlip is probably the way to go if you're not going to have the right tools and do things kind of sketchy like me. So got her all in there. I got her torqued to spec. You can get a little bit of gasket sealer coming out there. But yeah, now really the only step is to put it all back together. I'm going to have to wait overnight for that gasket sealer to cure before I start anything up, but Luckily, thanks to the magic of editing, you guys should be able to see that right away. So I'll get on that. Well, folks, got the saw all button backed up. Got a bar and chain on there, got all the covers, everything else on there. We're gonna give it a pull and see how she starts. This might be kind of tricky with just one hand. So what I think I'm gonna do is make sure that the brake is on and do somewhat of a modified ground start, if this will work. Well, looks like it's going to need a little bit of adjusting, but carb adjustment shouldn't be too big of a deal. If you notice that chain was turning whenever the chain brake was taken off at idle, that needs to be turned down just a little bit. So I had to pause mid-production there real quick, just talk to somebody out here. Just see I've got a an old Little Caesars pizza box just taped around the chain there. One of the first things that you really want to do when you get a good saw and a good chain, you want to have that chain cover. It goes over the bar, kind of protects your bar, protects your chain, and protects things from your chain. There's pretty much nothing more dangerous than a dull saw. And those teeth, if they're kept properly sharp, will just absolutely shred things. So if you have to throw it in the back of your car for some reason, if you keep it inside the cab of your truck, even if you're just going to carry it with you through the woods for a while, you're going to want to guard on that. But little digression over, I was just saying, yeah, I'm going to need to get that chain idle turned down a little bit. And I've got a buddy who has an actual saw tachometer that I'm going to borrow from him, and I'm going to get this thing completely tuned up. So we're going to see if I can get any of that on video, but as soon as I get this fully tuned up, should be good to go. As far as break-in procedure on the rebuilt engine, really all I'm doing, I'm running it a little bit heavy on oil. These saws are designed to take a 50-to-1 ratio. I personally will elect to use a 40-to-1 premium premix 2-cycle gasoline. Main reason for that is that I want to treat the saw really well in the break-in period, make sure that nothing goes wrong, have that little bit of extra lubrication, have good fuel, no ethanol, no additives, things that just tend to kind of beat the piss out of 2-cycle engines. So I'm going to say maybe 3-4 tanks and it should be completely broken in, just kind of taking it easy, a little bucking here, a little limbing here, not going out for a full 8 or 10 hours and just cutting, running. Probably get a little practice on it, cut some cookies, kind of get back up to snuff, because it's been a whole season since I've run a saw. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. This has been more or less just a recapping of my engine rebuild here on the Stihl 044, and if you guys like some of that, I can start changing up my content just a little bit, getting away from strictly vehicle and just sort of moving towards a little bit more practical, handyman, sort of working outdoors, that kind of work, because that's sort of the industry that I'm in. And so if you like this, like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. I'll see y'all on the next one.